I'll usually start with a pretty loose sketch, nothing fancy, just enough to get things placed. Then I like to put down a red ground. I've found it makes judging values a lot easier. Working on white can be really misleading. Everything looks darker than it actually is. This one's in a vertical format, so I'm not stressing too much about composition. I'm really just thinking about stacking layers and keeping them balanced as they move back into the space. Even at this stage, I'm sketching in some of the waves. I know later I'll be adding submerged rocks, so I need a rough idea of where those waves are going to be before I get too carried away. I almost always start by blocking in the sky. It helps me set the value range right away. Here I'm using light phthalo blue straight out of the tube. It looks almost white going on, which can feel a bit strange, but I know from experience that once everything else is painted in, it'll make sense. Next, I'm blocking in the mountain. I'm just adding a touch of ultramarine blue to the phthalo, barely enough to separate it from the sky. Distance really knocks the color back, so I want this to stay light and cool. That's what makes it feel far away. I'll pull that same color down into the water too, just to start hinting at the reflection. From there, I take that same mix and darken it slightly with more ultramarine and a touch of red. This is for the first layer of trees. Adding the red helps it feel closer, like there's less atmosphere between us and this layer. For the next layer of trees, I push the value a bit more by adding even more ultramarine. I'm still not thinking about details here, just the tops of the trees, really. I want a simple silhouette that sits nicely against the layer behind it. And again, I'll carry that color down into the water. Now I'm getting into the trees along the shoreline, same colors, just darker. At this point I'll start suggesting a bit of branch structure, but I'm still keeping it pretty loose. This darker area is really acting as the shadow in the trees. I'll come back later and add some color to give them more volume. As I move closer to the foreground, I start letting the color get more saturated. More color, darker values, and a bit more detail. It all helps pull these areas forward and really builds that sense of depth. I chose red for the canoe with a purpose. As a general rule, warm colors come forward and cool colors recede. I am adding some detail to bring it even more forward. All that's left are the details, some highlights in the water and the detail of the submerged rocks.